Some new developments concerning billion-dollar programs with two of America's biggest companies. President-elect Donald Trump voicing concerns about the cost of Lockheed Martin's F-35 fighter jet program, suggesting that he will scrap it when he takes office. At the same time, Boeing says it sealed a $17 billion deal to sell jetliners to Iran. That would make it the first major U.S. company to enter an agreement with the Islamic Republic. So how will Mr. Trump feel about that, and what's the impact on the markets and all of that? Chief National Correspondent Ed Henry, live in Washington. So Ed, let's start with this latest piece of information. He tweeted this morning about the Lockheed deal and the F-35. What do you make of it?
Well, what I make of it, he started with our own Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday yesterday saying that he's going after wasteful Pentagon spending. And normally you would think a new president, particularly a Republican coming into office, would be all for defense spending, which he said he wanted during the campaign. And he still says, Donald Trump, that he wants it, but he wants it not to be wasteful, that there's billions of dollars that's going down the drain. And this is why his critics say, look, he's going after these companies, he's unpredictable. And his supporters say, wait a second. That's what they want in a president. That's why they went out and voted for him and elected him, because they think he's going to take on these sacred cows. So look at this tweet this morning about Lockheed Martin. Donald Trump saying the F-35 program and cost is out of control. Billions of dollars can and will be saved on military and other purchases after January 20th. Remember, this follows him going after Boeing last week, and Boeing's stock took a hit. You mentioned people will now be looking this morning in a couple moments what happens to Lockheed in the markets. But remember, as you look at that live picture there of Trump Tower with more and more meetings coming, Boeing last week, the president-elect went after them about the new Air Force One, saying on Twitter, Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control. More than $4 billion. Cancel order. Remember, there were a lot of critics then as well last week saying, how could he even think about canceling the order? And those critics forgot that President Barack Obama canceled an order of helicopters from Marine One just for that very reason. So sometimes the critics, sort of shoot before asking the right questions, Martha.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that this is a businessman. He looks at the bottom line, he looks at the costs, and these contracts that are entered into for military equipment, have a very inefficient bidding process. This has been a long time story. I mean, this is a reformer. From what I'm hearing, all the conversations that are had are about reform in all of these agencies.
Right. Well, and Martha, and look, and this is why you look at Boeing as well with this new deal that you mentioned a moment ago, over $16 billion for planes going to Iran. That would be separate, obviously, from taxpayer money and the bidding and the contract process that Donald Trump says he's going to go over with a fine-tooth comb. What has he also said? He said that he's going to cancel the Iran nuclear deal, which is paving the way, opening the door for these major companies like Boeing to start getting these big multi-billion-dollar contracts with Iran. And so the bottom line is what I think you're seeing from Boeing, for example, in the Iran deal. They put out this statement saying today's agreement will support tens of thousands of U.S. jobs. Well, why that's important, you think about the carrier deal. These companies like Boeing are looking at Donald Trump being very unpredictable, going at them on cost overruns, maybe going after Boeing now on this separate issue of selling planes to Iran. And they're saying, well, hold on, Mr. President-elect, this will mean U.S. jobs. And again, critics are going to say this is very unpredictable and it's messy, and Donald Trump's supporters are going to say, hold on a second. He's holding these corporations accountable and making them focus on what's important, saving taxpayer money in terms of government contracts and creating U.S. jobs, not just jobs over in Iran, but U.S. jobs here.
Exactly right. I mean, you've got the federal spending on one side, and then you've got the question of U.S. jobs on the other side of that equation. And Airbus will get a lot of those airplane deals if we don't get them with companies in our country like Lockheed. So lots to chew over. Thank you very much, Ed.
Great
More to
see
come. You too.